How's it going, everybody? My name is Josh, and this is Figo Aesthetics. It's that time of year again. We're getting in at the end of August, going into September, so it's time to start thinking about Halloween and Thanksgiving decorations. And one of the overall great projects that you can do is to make pumpkins. So today, we're going to be making pumpkins out of MDF. The ones that we're going to make are going to be a little bit smaller than this one, but it'll have the same kind of style, same design. So to get started on our project, we want to make sure that we have all of our materials at hand. I have a couple of sheets of MDF that I just picked up from the box store, in this case Home Depot. I have a couple of foam brushes, and I have my black and orange acrylic paint. And for later, I have my glue to put everything together. So we'll get started just by applying the paint. We'll let it dry and apply a second coat if needed. Now I'm using acrylic paint for this, but you can definitely use spray paint if that's easier for you. This is also a great project if you have kids to get them involved. You can also paint this after it's cut if you don't want to use as much paint. Once you have the black done, just move on to the orange and keep going. Alright guys, while we wait for the paint to dry, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to take our SVG file. We're going to switch it to cut so we can see how it's going to cut out. There's a couple things that I want to do to this file. I don't like this little vine that's coming off, so I'm going to resize it, make it a little bit easier to work with, and then I'm going to edit so I can get rid of all this. So I'm just going to highlight, delete all of that. Then I'm going to zoom way in, maybe not that far. There we go. And correct these vectors. Just kind of have this one pointing at this one pointing at this one, and that will smooth it out pretty well. Alright, and done. And size it back to the screen here, and that's pretty well. So to see what we can get on the MDF that we have, what I like to do is create a rectangle, just a representative of that MDF. We'll unlock it. We know that we are 18 inches wide by 12 inches tall, so that we can get that on there. Once we have that on there, we want to make sure that we change the output so that we're not trying to cut stuff, and we're going to move it to a different color. I'll go with green, and I like this to be in red for the cut. Now that we have the size of the board that we're going to use, we can do a couple things here. We can resize this, or let's go ahead and rotate it. We're going to rotate one this way, and then we'll see how big we can make it. We want a little bit on the edge there. We don't want to go all the way to the edge. And get it just under, let's make it 11.5. and that will give us a 1/4 inch on both sides. One of the other things that we need to do is, this would be for the black, so let's move that to black. Move it to black. Move this back to green. Okay, so we're going to trace this, just the outside. So we go here, external, outer shapes only, and we don't want any overhang there, so we'll put this on 0. Confirm. And then that will be the orange layer. So we'll go ahead and move this to orange. Move that to the side. This we will copy and paste. So I believe we should be able to get 2, even though it's pretty large. Well, let's see if we can make that work. No, the stems are hitting, huh? Alright. Move that all the way back. Yeah, that's just not going to work. Alright, so it's a little bit too big for that. So we'll go ahead and shrink this down. Let's do 10. And we'll shrink this down to 10 as well. And you can get that in there. You can get that in there. Both of these will fit. You know, we might be able to do 11. Let's try that. Now let's see if we can make these work. Kind of offset that way, offset this way. Yeah, that'll work. Need to make sure that we go back and grab our orange, and that's going to be 11 as well. And then we'll go ahead and copy and paste that. Flip that around. So that when we get ready, we can just put the board in there, line it up, and be able to work. Let's move that over a little bit. We can move this down. As long as our lines are not touching, I think we'll be okay. If it has a little burnout, you're not gonna see it on the black. Anyway, all right, now that we have those lined up, we're going to group those, and didn't mean to move the outer box here, so let's ungroup that. Click on this, hold shift, click on this, group those, and move them out of the way, and then we'll grab our orange layer, we'll move it in here. And get it lined up. Again, we're still waiting on the paint, so we got a few more minutes to play with this. That in there, then this, and this group. All right, so now the black is dry to the touch. The orange still needs a little bit of time to dry, but we can go ahead and start with the black. That's going to take the longest to cut out. So we will just get it in there, get it lined up fairly well, as good as we can anyway. Get some of these magnets out of the way. I'm just going to line this up on my 1-inch mark there. Put my magnets just in the corner. Really shouldn't even need to use magnets on something like this, but I like to make sure everything's secure. And then we're going to bring our laser over so that we can get a measurement. And we're just going to distance. And then as soon as it gets its distance, it'll come back and we can map it out and make sure our design lines up. All right, now we're going to go with the rectangle and just mark it out. Now, it may not go all the way up to the top, but we still have a little bit of extra room up there where we can still cut and engrave. So just bring this over here, hit the button again, and then we're just going to move it back out of the way. Wherever you move it is where it's going to go to after it's done. Now that we're done with that, we can close this and we can send the file on the computer. Alright, so now we can see where we have it mapped out at. We mark the processing area. We're going to end the marking. It's good. So we still have our green box here. We're going to line that up with the marked area. I'm going to make sure that output is off. And then we're going to take, we're doing the black, so we'll take these, make sure they're in there. Centered up, looks good. Again, the laser will cut into this gray area here, so even though we were not able to mark that far, we still have our green box to let us know how far we can actually go with the board. Now that we're good, we're going to process it. It'll prepare the preview, and then we'll just click start. You see, this is going to take 1 hour and 33 minutes. Now that it's done, it's time to take it out and make sure everything cut through. Let's see what we got. Move the clips. Just give it a shake. Make sure all of our pieces come out. Yeah. So that came out nice and clean. So what we need to do now is clean out the entire bed and get it ready for the orange. Now, as you can see, left a pretty big mess on there. That's really not a problem. Just want to use some Awesome or some rubbing alcohol. Spray it on there pretty liberally. Let it soak for just a second and it'll come right off. Let's take a paper towel. Hit it a second time, just to get all the stubborn stuff. see everything just coming right off. And then just go in with a clean rag and dry it off for the rest of it. There, nice and clean. With the black pieces done, now it's time to put in the orange. Now we're going to line this right back up with the bottom where it was lined up before, and on the edge of the laser. The edge of the laser is right on the edge of the design. Put that clip down. Close it up. Alright, now that we're back here, we can go ahead and move this out of our area and move the orange in. So make that fit. Again, center it up in the green box. Go to center. Come on, there we go. There it is. Alright. We have the orange MDF lined up with the laser on this side and on the bottom on the other. We can't actually frame, so if we were trying to frame, it would not allow us to do that. You get this up here, and the reason for that is because we're in the gray area. The framing only allows where the alignment laser points, not where the actual cutting laser is. So got to make sure that we're good as far as our placement, and then we can send it over to the laser. This will take a lot less time than the black. We'll go ahead and get started. Alright, now it's time to take the pumpkins out, the orange layer out. So we just remove the clips. A little shake. See, there's a little bit of residual smoke there. Alright, here's what we got. So, close that up. We put this together. It's going to look like this. Alright guys, for the assembly, we're going to be using two different types of glue. I'm going to use this Aleene's craft glue. And that's going to hold the vast majority of it. And I'm also going to use some super glue just sporadically throughout, just to hold it together while this cures. So what we'll start with first is just some of this glue. If I can get it to come out. All right, there we go. You definitely want to get all of the outside edges, all the large areas. Just keep spreading it out, spreading it around. Make sure you're getting good coverage. Then we want to take some of our super glue and we're just going to dab it in a few places and try and get some of these lines in here, a little bit more intricate areas. That way when we set it down, won't be a lot of moving around. Now with super glue, you got to make sure that you're careful. You will glue your fingers together or to whatever it is you're trying to glue. So just kind of watch what you're doing, especially when you're putting it together. A little bit on the outside. Some of these smaller pieces. So now, without touching the glue, our orange base, and then we want to line it up. Now, one of the things with super glue is if you don't push on it very hard, you can still move it around a little bit to get things lined up. But once you push on it, it's going to set really fast. You want to make sure you're pretty lined up before you start pushing. Now that we're on there, take a paper towel, just kind of wipe off any little excess bits of glue that may come out. And then repeat with the next one. Once you have everything glued, or you can do this beforehand, you want to make sure that you go around and just wipe off some of that excess char all the way around so that anybody handling this won't get soot and stuff all over their hands. And it's a good time to do it after you glue, because you're going to have these little glue pockets that you want to wipe off too, especially on the outside. If they're just on the inside, you won't really see them as much. You can see it takes off a good bit. After you're done assembling it, if you don't need a way to hang it, then you can skip this step. But if you're going to hang this on the wall, you need a way to do that. And so what we're going to do is add this mounting bracket. So what we need to do is find our center of gravity. It's not necessarily going to be the center of the piece, but just where it hangs fairly well. And then we will mark that with just a little dot like that. And then we will put this right over that dot. Now you can pre-drill the holes, but these go in pretty easily. So just going to put it right in the center. Get that screw in there started, but not tight yet. Make sure my bracket is straight where I want it, and then put in the other screw. Now you can do this project on 3mm basswood or birch plywood as well. Just keep in mind that if you put this same type of attachment on there, the screws will go through that 3mm. The screws are about 4 to 5mm in size. Also keep in mind if you over tighten it, it will strip out. You can fix that by taking the screw out, packing it with glue, and then putting the screw back in, but it's just an extra step. All right, guys, there you have it. One piece of MDF. If you just cut it out and then paint it after you cut it, can make one of these 11-inch pumpkins. So real nice size to hang up on the wall. Great decor, perfect for Halloween and for Thanksgiving. All right, guys, that does it for today. Just let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you would like to see. We're going to continue to build, continue to do projects, and continue to grow. So if you guys could grow with me, that'd be awesome.